We'll just start where every fantasy manager wants to talk about, Gabriel Davis. The drumbeat of camp praise has been steady, on the heels of his 8-catch, 201-yard, 4-touchdown divisional round performance. You said, and again, I try to keep this in context. It was a team scrimmage on a Friday evening. You said he was the best pass catcher on the field Friday night. You weren't slighting Stefon Diggs or anything. You just said Gabriel Davis looked like the best pass catcher on the field Friday. Like, for a lack of a better way to phrase this, like, is this happening? Is Gabriel Davis going to be an every snap player this season? Is he going to take the next logical step on the way he ended 2021?
Well, he's definitely going to be an every snap player. They don't really have much depth behind him. The first guy that would probably be in if Diggs or Davis went down with an injury would either be switching Isaiah McKenzie to the outside or bringing in Khalil Shakir, because they've been using him on the outside a bit. There's really not much behind them right now. And Davis is also their best run blocking wide receiver. So even down the stretch late last year, he was getting higher snap percentages than Stefon Diggs because of how versatile he could make them. And even when they're in like these, 2 tight end sets, which I think they're going to do more of this year, he still finds his way on the field because he can kind of help deceive the opposing defense based on how well he blocks on a play-to-play basis. So he'll be out there a bunch. There's really no doubt in my mind. I would anticipate he's 90+% snaps this year. That's basically what he was down the stretch last season. Now, what will it translate from a statistical perspective? That remains to be seen, because while he has like these incredible games, that sometimes the separation is lacking. He's gotten a lot better at that as the few years have gone on here. He also has kind of a proclivity for a clunker every once and again. I think half of the games he started down the stretch, I think he had under 50 yards, if I'm not mistaken. So it might not be a consistent week to week thing, but he certainly will have those spike games. Josh Allen looks for him. He's excellent along the sidelines and in the end zone. One of my favorite things about him, which is why he's such a playing target for Josh Allen, because he's awesome at improvisational route running when things break down, because Allen is constantly moving off his spot, getting out of the pocket, everything like that. And Gabriel Davis, if you watch him on film and even live in person from the press box, you see him constantly working himself back, finding the right angle, shielding the defender. He's really talented at that, and that gives him a lot of opportunity with a quarterback like Allen. So he's definitely a really nice player. I don't know what it's going to look like for him, but statistically speaking, but yeah, he was great in that scrimmage. I'm a psycho, and I kept stats for the actual scrimmage.
You did. I read them. So yeah, I'm a psycho, so I read them.
I'm sorry to everyone who wasted time. No, I'm just kidding. It was fun. I love doing it.
In terms of Gabriel Davis's role in the offense, do you expect that he'll kind of continue like on the progression that he has, which is, he's basically been like a pure deep threat as a rookie at an ADOT average depth of target of 17.4, which is like very much kind of like what Marcus Valdes-Scantling was doing for the Packers. Mm-hmm. He was at 15.3 last year, also very deep downfield. In his breakout game against the Chiefs, his average depth was 20.5 yards downfield. So that's going to create a lot of volatility. It's also going to create a lot of spike weeks, that particular role. But if he's out there, 90% plus snap share, taking over a lot of what Emmanuel Sanders was doing in the beginning of last season, do you think he'll see some more intermediate work, or is his role in the offense really to stretch the defense?
No, I think you'll see some intermediate stuff. He's been running a lot of slants this summer and is looking a lot better, where he's getting more of separation than he had been in prior years. So that's a plus for him. I think that's the next step for him, where he's going to go, because we know he can win down the field. We know he can win at the catch point, and we know he can win along the sidelines. But can he continue to do all these things, especially when the Bills are going to be facing a fair amount of too high safety looks? And they did last year, to try and take away some of that stuff that Davis is so good at. But there is definitely potential here for him to help unlock Stefon Diggs a little bit, I think, because Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders just wasn't cutting it last year. And it kind of felt that way once we got into like mid-October, early November, where it just seemed like the initial surge from Sanders, where he had a really strong first maybe like 4 or 5 weeks, just kind of dissipated and seemed like he was moving a bit slower. The routes weren't as crisp. And I think Diggs suffered from that for a lot of the season because a lot of attention went on him. But because Gabriel Davis has kind of shown to be so dynamic, and if he continues to show this intermediate prowess that we've seen through the summer so far, then I think that can help just about everybody in that offense. Isaiah McKenzie / Jamison Crowder included, maybe a little bit more Dawson Knox, but surely Stephon Diggs, because he might be he has the potential to be the most talented number 2 that Diggs has played with since John Brown. Since John Brown kind of dissipated in his speed role down the stretch there.
That's really exciting to hear you say, because I've been thinking along the lines of like, if we could get someone who can stretch the defense and take some defensive attention away, it's probably very good for Diggs. And his efficiency did suffer last year a little bit. Do you think that could mean potentially more deep routes for Diggs if we're getting some more intermediate stuff from Gabe Davis and they're able to kind of use these guys a little bit more creatively rather than kind of in set roles?
Yeah, I think there's some potential for that. The Bills are kind of in a low-key transition year with their offense, with Ken Dorsey at the helm. And so there's a bit of guesswork as to what they'll inevitably be, because not only did they change the offensive coordinator because, well, they had to, because Dable went to the Giants, but they also changed offensive line coaches. And Bobby Johnson was very much a power scheme. They scouted for power, everything like that. They bring in Aaron Cromer. They basically revamped their entire offensive line for more athletic guys. And Aaron Cromer's most recent stop was in the Sean McVay school. And so I tend to think with that, the addition of OJ Howard and, Sean McDermott's, borderline, I wouldn't say obsession, but he's liked the zone blocking scheme and the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay style of running and play action work and everything like that. He's really been fond of that over the years. They tried it back in 2017 with Rick Dennison as the offensive coordinator, another Shanahan disciple.
I just assume they're all Shanahan disciples.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, this was a Mike Shanahan disciple, not even Kyle. But yeah, I think there is a bit of guesswork that's going on as to what they'll be to try and get these safeties away from being deep down the field, trying maybe not even establishing the run more often, just like being more efficient with the run, I think is the goal. And maybe it makes the route patterns and what they're doing from one play to the next a bit different than what we've seen from them. But I think they're just aiming on being a little bit more unpredictable than what they were last year.
Joe, you just hit on like a lot of really interesting points there. And I feel like Josh Allen has become so good that we just kind of take the Bills offense for granted at this point, which, what a world, like what a change. Like we just accept that the Buffalo Bills have an elite offense. I mean, it's been since the early 1990s since we accepted that, but it's kind of like underplayed that like they are changing offensive coordinators. They are maybe even changing philosophies. Like, so there's been kind of smoke signals that like, I don't know, was Sean McDermott unhappy with how much Josh Allen rushed? Was he unhappy with how much he passed? Like, is there anything in particular you think Sean McDermott wants to see specifically change with Josh Allen's usage this year? Or is he just to the point where he's going to let Josh be Josh no matter what?
I think on the whole, they would prefer Josh to not rush as much, just because if he goes down, this whole thing's going down. There's not much in between.
No way to sugarcoat it.
Yeah. So I think they understand where they are with him. And he did set a career high in rushing attempts last year. Now, obviously, he had an extra game. But be it as it may, that he was still an efficient runner and everything like that. I think what maybe they want to get away from is more of the designed runs. Like, you don't want to take it completely away from him. But that's why getting, this idea of a more efficient run game going, like maybe it's not running the ball more than they did in the past. Maybe it's just running the ball more effectively with Singletary, with James Cook, with Zach Moss, who By the way, he's not going away.
We've been reading your missives,
yeah.
and we've been sadly reporting on them. Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing where like we don't want to post this, but
yeah, many apologies to everyone out there.
That's fine.
But yeah, I think that would be the ideal approach for them. I don't think they want to go into the season and be like, hey, 55-60% run team. That's just not them. They know who they are. But I do think there is a slight amount of variance involved with this year, especially because Dorsey's a first-time offensive coordinator.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.